Welcome to Beyond Bitcoin Delegate Hangout number 1. Today we are joined by Robrigo to ask him some of the community's questions regarding his candidacy for delegate in the BitShares X ecosystem. He meets us from his cabin in the woods to talk BitShares, the importance of funding educational platforms, and much more. Let's have a listen. So, this is the first delegate hangout that we have had for Beyond Bitcoin. And this is kind of a volunteer service that we're trying to do to see if we can get people to advertise their delegate candidacy and let the community know a little bit about them. So in that vein, could we get started with maybe a little introduction about yourself and why you got interested in Bitcoin?
Sure. So I am 23. My name is Rob in real life. I'm going to withhold my last name for now. Robrigo on the forums. And just recently graduated computer science degree. I've been doing web development for 5 or 6 years. So I'm kind of an information addict. I like to read and learn. And one of my friends got me into Bitcoin a little bit, just like started talking to me about it a few years ago when it was still really cheap. So we kind of talked about it. We'd have discussions about how, it could revolutionize society and all of that in the day, but none of us really took it seriously. And then it exploded through the roof and is in the process of early adoption and probably heading towards going mainstream, and definitely seems like very useful technology for wealth redistribution, for businesses to be able to conduct their business better and without having their profit margins crashed into by unwieldy fees and all of that. So I've been trying to grok it for a couple of years, and now I finally get it. I never really put a whole lot of effort into it until more recently. So anyways, eventually, a friend of mine, he's also on the forums as Gingerbread Man, he gave me, the sort of BitShares intro. And I remember he mentioned it a year ago, back when you could still buy, I think it was about a year ago. He's been following it for a while. And I looked at it and I was really confused because I hadn't, I didn't actually spend the time to understand it. It was still just, very early in the development. But he mentioned it to me a few months ago again, and I looked at it again and read about it. But now with my newfound, knowledge of proof of work and knowledge of all of how the Bitcoin consensus works and all of that, and I was like, blown away once I got it. And so I've been following it and trying to figure out where I can fit into the community and trying to figure out, how I want to help this ecosystem, because I think it has a lot of potential. So I guess that would be sort of how I got to where I am now. I do have I'm a sort of DevOps, sort of a web developer, kind of do a little bit of everything for my full-time job. So I haven't had the time to fully commit to, diving into setting up a delegate and all that until just last night. So I haven't even started trying to produce blocks on it yet because I wanted to get some more of the operational stuff, price feeds and all of that good stuff set up on the server first. So that's, I guess, quick intro.
Gillian asks a question here. Why do you have faith in BitShares X over BitShares X over other 2.0 cryptocurrencies, communities, and environments? If not, why not? So basically, do you have faith in BitShares X and BitShares over other 2.0 projects, or where do you stand on that, and why?
I definitely have faith in this project, and I guess I'll start by saying I feel the basis of it, the technology, the DPoS and the way the DAC operates, and it incentivizes, stakeholders. I think that it's a very smart idea because everyone wins. And the fact that DPoS can run at 10 seconds, what is that? The max block time or average block time?
From what I understand, it runs from like 5 to 15 seconds.
Gotcha. Yeah, as I said, I haven't started to produce blocks just yet, so I haven't experienced that. But the speed with which transactions are confirmed, the whole concept of bit assets, and the fact that we can now hedge our risk into a crypto fiat basically is just amazing to me. It seems like there's so much potential here. The community itself is very awesome. I mean, I've read through lots of the discussions about the mechanics, and with my mind blown trying to understand the context of the conversation. But I've learned so much just about free markets and about trading, and I feel like BitShares X brings those concepts to, it will bring those concepts to the layman, rather than just fat cats on Wall Street or whatever, or some people like to dabble in investments still, but to the masses. And maybe I'm sure a lot of people won't invest in trading, but still, just the fact that they could hold stable value in a crypto system is absolutely amazing. And as far as over other 2.0 cryptocurrencies, I guess major competitors such as, I've researched NXT a bit, just off I felt after learning about, some of the downfalls there, especially the initial allocation. Learned deeply enough about Ethereum to speak to it too much, but I feel like they could sort of different issues, and I feel like these blockchains, there will be many blockchains, not just the one to rule them all. Maybe as far as transfer of currency and value goes, there will be the one to rule them all, but maybe not. There's multiple currencies as there is, or as it is in the major ones, especially if each of their systems brings something new and innovative to the table. But I do feel that BitShares X is definitely the one that I have pushed my stack of chips into. I totally believe in it. I want to be a part of it. Gingerbread Man and I are talking about getting some meetups going in sort of, the cities in Southeast Michigan, Detroit, Ann Arbor, Grand Rapids. So trying to gauge some interest, see if we can find people who are interested in Bitcoin that might want to learn about, the future of these types of systems and sort of talk to them about it. So I'm really trying to orient myself so I could do this full time. And I feel like, or a company on top of a delegacy is kind of the way to go, because I'd be able to the system and also, use funds from that delegate in order to fund projects that continue to contribute to the system, and possibly building technologies and stuff too, building simpler ways for the layman, or people who don't use computers that often, or whatever, so they can still use BitUSD, and simpler ways for them to interact with the blockchain without all of the knowledge required to sort of get into it and really get it.
Well, you kind of already answered a question that was asked on the subreddit. Do you have a detailed plan of exactly how you're going to use your resources? And what will you do with any extra resources if they exceed your plan? So essentially, you've kind of said that you have an idea of what you're doing or what you want to do, or are you saying that you do have a detailed plan pretty much in place already?
no detailed plan yet. I've been thinking about it and trying to get as much stuff out of the way as possible with my other obligations,
Sure.
so that I can work on it. But I do have a vague plan. I haven't crunched numbers. I haven't figured out exact percentages like for the rates. Right now, I just set my delegate to 80-20 because I figured, I'll probably end up giving at least 20 to burn, and then the other 80 I could always come down if I didn't need the full percentage.
So you're thinking,
or
right now,
fund other projects. I saw on a post that.
Oh, so you're thinking right now that your burn rate's going to be 20%. I bring it up just because there's a question what your burn rate is going to be. And that means to me that you understand what the concept of burn rate and everything too, right?
Yeah. Well, yeah, and it's not solidified for me because I really don't know exactly. Like, basically what I was thinking is, take my overhead from the VPS out of the pay, and then what do I have left? Okay, how much is that? And how much am I going to need to make, these projects work that I'm thinking about? Like, I'd like to make, ideally, a platform for trying to like incentivize like a delegate faucet, almost a knowledge sharing. So like, I don't know exactly how I'd execute it yet, but some sort of platform that people could interact with and, prove that they are understanding the concepts here. And then, okay, here's a little stake out of the delegate faucet. And now you're like in the system, and maybe you didn't have any money to invest, but you still have a stake now. And like I said, I haven't done any figuring out of, how much would each faucet award, and it'd probably be a percentage, right? Because it's variable. So there's a lot there and a lot of, actual gritty, the platform kind of work. And so I probably have to get some buddies that are also interested in BitShares X to, hop on board and build something. But ideally, I want to try to, spread market adoption. That's my main goal in understanding the DAC metaphor and understand the potential for wealth redistribution, the potential for, the privacy implications, and taking back freedom from the, encroaching state, and all of the sort of
I don't know what you're talking
good
about.
stuff.
Continue. Sorry.
Sorry, I might have been going off track a little there.
No,
I did
I'm
talk
joking.
to and not just this DAC, starting with this DAC, but I'd really like to paint a picture of, look at what's possible with these types of systems. It's not just, there's decentralized storage possibly in the future. Who knows? Maybe there will be a storage DAC or something. And there's that, like the DAO DApps post was showing, and Brian's crazy idea he posted, well, not so crazy, it's actually super awesome, about using blockchain technology for autonomous food production bots to control them and like have them basically on this giant feedback system where it's just a giant stigmergic sort of system that works because it's awesome and it's distributed, and all of the nodes can reach a consensus of a state in the system. So I really just want to sort of spread that knowledge to the world.
It's very interesting that you bring this stuff up, and I'll just say one thing. There's something called Khan Academy. In Khan Academy, they have multiple other learning engines that have essentially come online, where you can go for free to learn about all these different projects. Would you be interested in helping to fund something like a Khan Academy, where students can go and earn points for actually watching videos on depots and DACs and how all these things work, and actually like answering questions Would that type of system appeal to you as far as being a part of something like that, or helping to fund the construction of that?
Yes, that is what I'm thinking of. And Khan Academy is awesome. I actually I've forwarded it to a couple of friends who, maybe one dropped out of high school, or the other one is, 15 and struggling, and they've both been using Khan Academy to work on their math skills. I love that site. It's an inspiration to me, honestly, and I would like to build some sort of education platform like that, but obviously that's a grandiose platform. They've been working on it for years. I don't know if I could, obviously what I build would be awesome to do something like that.
Well, and these are the things we're in the beginning stages, so it's going to be very cool to see what we are capable of as our Velvet Revolution grows, right? If you don't mind, I'd like to end it with just one more question. And this one's from Cryptillionaire. And I recognize that there's a very legitimate element of making sure that the people who are running delegates are running it on hardware that's going to be able to handle scaling, or who are going to be able to easily scale it. So they want to know a little bit about the specs. And with that said, would you be able to give us a little bit of information on where you're going to be hosting the delegate? If you want, you don't have to, you're not obligated to. Justify the location and elaborate on the server specs.
Yeah, sure. Right now I have a VPS through DigitalOcean, and it's the $20 a month VPS. I believe it's a 2 gig of RAM server. I don't remember the exact specs. I'm logging in right now, but I was thinking this was more of a temporary delegate location, so I could actually, get a better sort of dedicated server rack, maybe I don't know if in a data center or actually owning the hard server and running it myself. Basically, I have given it a little thought, and I think the ideal way would be to run my own physical server and have it, in a place where I've got fast tubes that are very, solid, not dropping and not prone to weather, incidents and stuff like that, which I can't do currently where I'm living, but I'm looking at moving in a few months anyways, so into a more urban area. So I think I would be able to set up a better solution insofar as the security side, having the hard server. But as far as scaling it goes, I do know that I can upgrade my DigitalOcean droplet if the need arises while it's being run as a droplet. If for some reason it did need much more RAM, then I would be able to upgrade it.
This service is here for everybody here. I mean, I'm hoping someday karma will come back, but it's not necessary because I believe that we're building a world that's going to make my baby free. So I appreciate you wanting to do this, and I appreciate Ginger for always being there. Yeah. Gingerbread's known me actually since I first was on BitShares forums, going around calling to BitShares and Gravy and all these different places. Yeah. He plugged the worst audio clip I think I've ever given, but he was trying to support me. I think you guys seem like you're really awesome guys, and I would really be interested in working with you.
Sounds great, man, and I appreciate that you're all the work you put in, having this mobile and everything, and Beyond Bitcoin and all of that. It's really awesome. So thanks for interviewing me.
Thanks, man.
This was an interesting interview, even though it was the first delegate interview, because I've always been interested in the development of educational systems that can leverage the internet to reduce costs and barriers to entry. And it sounds a lot like Robrigo's ideas of funding educational content for BitShares is right along those lines. I would personally like to thank Robrigo for registering as delegate at BeyondBitcoinX.net, a portal for users to find their delegates, DAC-related information, news, and maybe even someday paid work. I believe his registration will help improve his visibility and help users easily locate his delegates' pertinent information. Robrigo has been generous enough to designate 5% of his delegates' transaction fees to funding Beyond Bitcoin's media reach into the cryptosphere, where there are many potential DAC developers and investors. He has also designated 5% of his transaction fees to BitSapphire and the apps that they are building to bring BitShares Toolkit products to the fingertips of everyday users. Finally, if you are a delegate and you would like to have your own delegate hangout, you can either contact me at beyondbitcoin@gmail.com or simply organize your own on the Beyond Bitcoin X Mumble server. This is free of charge, and it's there for you. Until next time.